Hi, I'm Dakota, back here with the coding program at Patch Office located in Spencer, West Virginia. Today we're going to be coding an objective maze game. Let's get started. First we're going to obviously pull up our Chrome browser. So let's go ahead and pull that up. And we're going to go to Scratch and we're going to create a new file. Here I already have a new sprite, an objective, and a backdrop preloaded. So this is my little maze. For this, we're going to need 10 different lines of codes. 8 are going into our roamer, and 2 are going to go into our objective. So we're going to start with our roamer, and we're going to go ahead and code him. So we're going to need our arrow keys. Zoom in on the code here. So we're going to need all our arrow key buttons. So when they're getting pressed, they're going to activate. Then we're going to need to point our directions with every single one. So if we're going to go up, we're going to point 0, which is going to take us upward. If we're going to point down, we're going to need to go 180. If we're going to point to the right, we're going to need to point 90 degrees. And if we're pointing left, we're going to need to point -90. And then we're going to need our move 10 blocks steps. And we're obviously going to have him switch a costume. I already have a new costume preloaded, so we're going to go ahead and put these in. So it'll count for every single one. And we already have 4 blocks down. We only need 4 more lines of code to go. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. We want to start on our next one. So we're going to have our green flag. And we're going to have him set in a certain area. So we're going to have him set here at -2, 1, 2, and -93. So we're going to need to have him go to this. Whenever this is started, we're going to have him point -90. Now we don't want him pointing upwards when we start unless that's the way you want your sprite to go first. Then we're going to have him set to the first costume we have. So we're going to need Sora 1. And then we're going to need a forever. Now this is where we're going to start creating our maze. So if we click on our backdrop, we're going to go here. It's have us loaded onto the bitmap. We're going to need to convert to vector. Vector is going to let us create these color blocks that are going to act as barricades / walls. So we're going to have these set around the map somewhere. Go ahead and delete that one. So we're going to go ahead and box in our little sprite. There we go. Size him down a little bit to about 80. That way he's not really touching the walls. So going back here, this is just our little code. So when we have our little wall set up, we're going to have it if touching a color. So our walls are black, so we're going to have to, if it's touching the black, we're going to need our if then block. Place it in here. Now what we want him to do is move -10 spaces backwards. So if he's touching that block, he will go backwards wherever. We're going to stop that. Size them down a little bit more. Maybe. No. I'll just make the walls a little bit bigger then. Give them a little bit more room. Still making them go out anyway. Oh well. Now your maze doesn't have to be perfect or anything, so we're just going to go ahead and... Okay, that'll work. So like I said, if he was going to touch this, he'd jitter back a little bit. So moving on to our next line, we're going to need another green flag. Now this one's mostly for sound, if you want to play sound. So we're going to make a sound over here. So we're going to have our forever block, and if it is touching our objective. So we're going to go down here. My objective is called Oathkeeper and Oblivion. This is our objective over here. So we're going to need our if block placed in here. Place that there, and then we're going to need it to play a sound. So we're going to play an obtain sound. And we're going to have it stop everything, because that's going to be our objective. We want everything to just stop working at that. So now we're up to 6. Now we're going to have 2 more green flags. Just going to place them wherever you want. Then we're going to work on him saying something. We're going to have him say, I got them, or I obtained them. Have him say whatever, whatever. So if he's touching that, he's going to say I obtained them, so we're just going to... Why is he still going backwards? So if he touches them, he's going to go ahead and say it. So now we're going to work on getting our sound working. So we're going to need our forever block again. Play sound. If it's getting touched. We're going to put our stop all down here. You can place your stop all wherever you want. Now we're going to have our background music playing. So we're going to work on one that has our green flag. We're going to have it play a sound. So we're going to have it play a Sinister Sundown. So when this green flag is pressed, have our little music going. Change where he starts at. I don't know why he's going backwards a lot. So we're just going to move him down there. So as we move, our background music is playing. So we can go over here, and it's playing our sound whenever we attach to it. So that's all the lines of code for our roamer. For our objective, we only have 2 lines. So we're going to need 2 green flags, and one of them is going to keep its appearance, and one of them is going to keep a time. So we're going to have it. We're going to work on our time one first. So we're going to need a forever block. Now for the time, we want to have it waiting 1 second. So if we didn't have that, it would just constantly go up by 1. So we want to wait 1 second to count. Then we're going to need our change variable. So seconds. So it's going to change seconds by 1. And if it's being touched by the roamer. So if touching, then we want it to stop. So there's our first line. Our second line, we're going to have it have its appearance. So we're going to have to go to looks, and we're going to have it set size to 20. And we're going to go to, let's say he was here originally, so we're going to place him up here. So he was here originally, but we want him set down there, so we're going to have him go to these coordinates. Then we'll have it set the scores to 0. And we're going to have it show it whenever it's running. So let's go ahead and give this a little run. I'm going to set SOAR down here. I'm going to change its coordinates once again. So everything is running. So if we're touching the black, obviously he's moving backwards. Our arrow keys are working fine. Our seconds are going up. And when we touch our objective, he says it and everything stops. Hopefully this gives you a little tutorial on how to make your own maze. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you next time.